Welcome, it's Senor MA. Today I wanted to go back and look at a lesson that I did on cognates. So this is how to identify, spell, and communicate cognates between English and Spanish. I noticed as I was teaching, students did not recognize immediately what many of these cognates were. And cognates are so powerful because they help us to expand our vocabulary. And it doesn't take much to recognize the suffixes, but when we do, we activate a very powerful tool in our ability to read. And with more formal texts, such as if you're reading the news, if you're reading a textbook or something that's more academic, students have the strength to read more than they think they can. So, as I am teaching, I'm going to begin using a lot of cognates and then going to some words that English does not share in some of our readings. But this is to help strengthen students' ability to read and to communicate. So, there are at least 1,000 words that once you recognize the suffixes, you will expand your vocabulary in Spanish. And students asked, how did we get so many? So this is the story that I told them in a video, and I will put a link to that video in the text below. So the Romans is where we're going to start with, and a little bit beforehand, Greek words as well. So Romans were fascinated by the Greek culture, um, and because of that, there are a lot of Greek words in the Romance languages, as well as in Latin. So the Romans expanded throughout southern Europe, giving them their language. And with the local languages, they mixed and they created a variety of languages as well. When we Americans traditionally think about many of the languages that exist in Europe, we often think, oh, all of France speaks French. And while that is true to a certain degree, we often forget about many of the other Romance languages that are often considered dialects, but in reality, they are their own languages. So, Occitan shares its, um, excuse me, is a part of France where it's spoken. Catalan with Spain. Usually, what happened was is that the king spoke a certain dialect. For example, in Spain, Castilian Spanish came to dominate um, how government was used, which language or which dialect the government used, and because of that, to this day, Spanish is spoken in these parts of the country, as well as abroad in the Spanish speaking world. So, to quickly go over some of the questions, how many people speak Spanish now? 390 million. What language does Spanish draw its vocabulary from? Latin, predominantly. However, there are also words from Arabic, Greek, as well as English. Why is Spanish considered a Romance language? Because of the Roman Empire coming there and bringing the language. What are some other Romance languages? French, Portuguese, Italian, Romanian. And what other name is there for the Spanish dialect? And that is Castilian. And how did Spain get Quechua, Mayan, and Aztec words? These are loan words. So these are words that did not exist in the European Spanish and were brought over. Spanish did not have many of these things. For example, chocolate, tomatoes, potatoes, they were all brought over from the New World. And that's why so many of them are the same in English as well as in Spanish and many of the other Romance languages. So, what is a cognate and what is a false friend? A cognate is a word that is shared between English and Spanish, but it can actually be a word shared between any two languages. The spelling and pronunciation may be different. In most situations, they are because they follow the rules of the language. Many of these words come from Latin. However, we talked about some of the other sources. A cognate or a false friend is a word that looks like it's a cognate but actually has a different meaning. And I'll be showing these to students as we go through vocabulary. So Here we can see the suffixes or the endings al, ar, or ble. So as you can see, hospital is hospital, animal is animal, familiar is familiar, and solar is solar. Terrible, terrible, horrible, horrible. OUS, CT, and ICT and IT. So here we have curious becomes curioso, mysterious, misterioso, glorious, glorioso. CT for insect becomes insecto, correct, correcto, exact, exacto. And IC, basic, básico, fantastic, fantástico, and medic, medico. Now, a word here, medic is actually another way that a lot of people refer to a doctor. So here you can see we're going to start dipping into some more SAT vocabulary or words that we wouldn't use as much in English. However, this is where a lot of great light bulb moments go off for students. Oh, medic as in medical. Or, yes, I remember hearing about that when we talk about the army. So while a lot of these words are going to be dipping into more lesser used words, we can make these connections. So for ants, airy, and ant, ambulance, ambulancia, distance, distancia, tolerance, tolerancia, diary, diario, glossary, glossario, or dictionary, diccionario. Distant, distante, elegant, elegante, important becomes importante. So LYTON in TI. So personally, so when we make an adverb, we add ly. In English, we're going to add mente to the end. Personalmente. Rapido or rapid becomes rapidly or rapidamente. Electricity, electricidad. Possibility, posibilidad. University, universidad. Solution, solución. Election, elección. Destruction, destrucción. Now, here are some other cognates, and I believe some of these are coming from Greek. So, nationalism, nacionalismo, um, the words that end in phi. So, geography, geografía, biography, biography, artist, artisto, linguist, linguisto, and words that end in ed, often that are adjectives, complicated, complicado, liberated, liberado, advanced becomes avanzado. Now, here are some of the false cognates. So, usually we think of an English diversion as being moving away from something. However, diversión in Spanish is fun. Some of these are a little bit maybe, I don't know, rating on PG, but for example, embarrassed. One joke that we often tell kids at the beginning, if someone is embarrassed, they are avergonzado. However, embarazo is pregnant. So be very careful for some of these. Great other pictures. Exit is salida. Éxito is success. Pie, we would probably refer to as a pastel, but pies actually means feet. Or to assist is ayudar, where in Spanish asistir is to attend. So students or los estudiantes asisten la clase. So there's a lot of great other words that students can learn. I'm going to be making sure that they recognize false cognates because it can save students a lot of embarrassment. However, these are powerful words for students to use, and I frequently encourage them to look for cognates because they also help students memorize information. Thank you for so much for listening, and I hope this helps. Please give me feedback. Bye.